And from this point onwards,
just rocket jumping over a wall underneath the turret, and now three hitting.
One auto,
death.
one auto, second auto, and an ultimate. And he's dead.
I don't even know whether the ultimate damage registered because he did so much of it.
It was either two autos and an ult. Both of them pretty dirty, Atlas.
Yeah, really dirty. Gonna have a look at Bang there on your screen. Just another day in the office for him, but you can hear the music. It is going to be a sub. I feel like the kind boy might be taking some time on the bench as Score, oldest player in the league, the man wanting to come back, see whether he can use the learnings from game 1 to get around the jungle in game number 2.
That is really what Rush being blooded on the scene means. What him playing in playoffs means to me is that you can follow the old logic that SKT wielded for a lot of summer season last year, and in general, a lot of 2017. Start with the aggressive jungler, sub in the pathing jungler who has now one game of map hacks on the Jarvan. Will it have to be a Jarvan takeaway here? Will the Jarvan now no longer be the pick? Blank can be very conniving. He can be very cunning. He is a smart jungler when he's in form. Now he knows that Score was watching him in game 1. Very interesting to see how things go as Pawn will not come in. It will be Yukal once again. Decent game on the Talia. By the time SKT picked up that team by victory, wasn't really much he could do.
Yeah, and you guys might be thinking back to that Trash Talk video that we opened up with here for this series, because everyone was talking about Blank being a momentum player. The consistency isn't always there, but when he's on form, he is on form. And if game 1 is a sign that things are going to look good, then KT fans should be sweating moving into game 2.
You know what game 1 was a sign of? That we're going to have a sick best of 5
damn
here.
right we are.
SKT winning 3-0 was probably the least likely result from their play this year. From history, of course, a very famous result for SKT. But from this year, SKT's consistency with all the different rosters they've run was the one thing you weren't expecting. Maybe it's going to smash us right in the face, as that was a very impressive game number 1. And now KT's adaptation in the pick and ban is going to be so fun to see.
Yeah, will it once again just be targeting Blank, as we are not going to have any side switches? It's going to be blue side once again for SKT as we head into Champion Select.
And to remind you guys, dynamic side selection, SKT have their choice in game 2 and game 4. That means they choose blue side. I was a bit surprised when we came to the arena that KT had chosen red, because blue side priority and the ability to get swayed at first pick is the reason a lot of teams around the world look for that first pick on blue side. So far, bans remain the same. I don't think you ban 3 junglers if you're KT, because Rush needs the aggression. He's an aggressive jungler. It made sense to deny good picks into Olaf and then take the Olaf. Will KT try to roll it back, even with a very different jungler? Interestingly, they do.
They absolutely are. And remember, Score did win back-to-back games against SKT on that Olaf last time these two teams faced, so thinking that if they do it again, he might be able to have that early game pathing that he's looking for. Azir going to be locked in this time. That's going to be the adaptation. As Score thinking about finding that Olaf for that second pick, and is going to be the way. So once again, giving away the Swain, but now the Birdman goes to Yuka.
And look, it wasn't about Blank's Jarvan in game number 1. He was very capable, but he wasn't playmaking. It was largely about defensive coverage, because they had fairly weak lanes that needed defensive play. Gonna roll it back. It will be the same jungle matchup 2 games in a row, you would imagine. They lock in this Jarvan for Blank, and that means a Score is ready to go on the same matchup. I saw you wise-eyed a little bit there.
I didn't say anything, though. There's Aatrox going to be considered, and the Korean fans having a bit of a chuckle about the fact that he has been hovered.
Now, running 2 games of Jarvan, even with the enemy jungler watching your Jarvan game, is actually one of the most flexible things you can do, Atlas, because Jarvan is creative. He can take any camp, he can gank at level 2. Your path in the jungle as Jarvan is not predictable. So of all champions to know that your enemy saw your route on, I'd actually prefer the Jarvan because of his flexibility.
Well, Camille now going to be considered here, and that would be the whole top side of the map picked up for KT. That is going to be the lock-in, avoiding that second round of bans. Means the bottom lane still yet to be locked in here for KT, and they just don't care about getting that counter pick.
It does seem like SKT. You know, you're first expecting to be a mid lane Karma, and once again rolling out the hyper carry come through for Bang, but it could be a support Karma, an old favorite of Wolves. There it is a flex pick, but your first thought when you see the draft largely rolled back is, hey, finding zones of control for Bang to pop off seemed pretty good in game number 1. Why not do it again? seeing the Ezreal band away, pricing SKT further into a hyper carry, 80 carry. Let's see how KT close out the map. They don't take a support in the first round, so it's going to be entire bot lanes constructed in the second round of the draft.
Yeah, remember it was Morgana and Camille banned away from SKT in the second round last time. The identical bans in the first round means that there is going to be a change. We'll see whether Morgana is going to be taken, given the fact that Camille was actually banned second round last time. So Ezreal, Tahm Kench, once again, Ezreal, Tahm Kench.
Problem for KT is they don't ban Xayah. It feels like you have to take Xayah from Bang because Bang plays Xayah without Rakan. Banning Rakan does not stop SKT from locking in Xayah, but it seems like they're going to accept the fact that Bang will most likely go for Xayah as a stronger laning phase than Tristana and just accept it for KT. I wonder what that means for Deft's pick, as it is a big sacrifice. Deft's Xayah has been decent. It's 2 and 4, so the win rate is not there. Bang Xayah has been amazing.
It has. It's been absolutely extraordinary, but now we've got Olaf and Braum. So bottom side ganks, certainly something that can work out here for SKT, and maybe they want to have a rocket jump once again down on that bottom side for the disengage possibilities. They're at least going to hover the Tristana for a little bit, but the gangplank is going to be locked in, and looks like that is going to be support Karma. I got very confused for a second there. I was like, where's the pirate going? It looks like Wolf is going to be picking up his Karma that he used to favor very highly a while ago.
More zone control with the cannon barrage, and they seem to be really heavily considering rolling back Tristana. This would be a blind pick Tristana. This is a new thing for the LCK. Again, does happen around the world, but probably not something that KT was anticipating coming into this series. The high Tristana priority coming from SKT kind of reminds you of other teams about to ban Tristana against opponents. You think of Vitality and the EU LCS teams against Liquid. Sometimes, all right,
wow, okay.
We're going super early game on the side of KT. We're going back to the Kalista, and they're trying to punish in the 2v2. 2 nerfed 80 carries, but Kalista's sieging is basically gone in the late game. It's now about playmaking. It's now about Mata having access to the ultimate there to make the plays from the Kalista.
And think about KT's Baron comp as well. It's disgusting. They've got Zia for massive damage and then Death for the secure. The turn is also great with the Glacial Fissure. Everything feels good for KT moving towards that Baron.
But with this sort of a comp, you're kind of packing up after 25 minutes. If you lose the team fight, say, okay, guys, we tried, we lost.
It's like, you can have a go if you want to, but otherwise, we're out. It's done.
This game is all about the first Baron for KT rolls. If they claim it pre-30 minutes, then you can vindicate the draft. If you lose the Baron, it is a decimation for KT. SK Telecom T1, they roll back Tristana. It feels like the 80 carry matchups are as far away from as prep as possible. Where's the Caitlyn? Where's the Kai'Sa? Where's the Jhin? They're all gone.
Yeah, where's the Jinx as well? I mean, Deft's been playing it a little bit in the solo queues. That's, of course, always what I want to see, but damn, it's still a spicy draft. And whenever you see Kalista locked in, it has nothing to do with Deft's Kalista. It has everything to do with Mata saying, just get on the Kalista, give me another button I can press.
Another game where you look at KT's draft and say, those lanes are pretty strong. The Olaf is set up to do things. Rush wasn't able to actually get down the vision or make the plays matter when he needed to in game number 1. Let's see if the wily veteran can do it in game number 2 with score coming in.
Yeah, the top side of the map is going to remain the same for SKT, as well as that Tristana that was so good. MVP performance from Bang. Game number 2, guys, coming up right now. Let's get on to Summoner's Rift for this playoff match. Fans crying in unison. Just so many. Soli Stadium, which has filled out now. If you guys are wondering back at home, everyone turning up. Game number 2. SKT looking to put another nail in the coffin of KT, and KT trying to bring us to a best of 3 the remainder of this series.
All the fans, so excited to see it. Look, you can always plug it in. Every season, doesn't matter where they are on the ladder. People will come and watch the Telecom. It's a name that goes around the world. Every League of Legends fan who watches competitive esports knows the Telecom. Best of 5 is something that we're always so excited to see. The adaptations for KT from Game 1 to Game 2 are subbing in a new jungler in Score, but largely keeping it the same. They are going very much trying to double down the 2v2. Going for a late invade here, but I believe they were spotted out.
They were, and they actually saw the ward die there as well, so they know that they were seen.
They don't know Blank is here. He shows himself now.
Yep. Ward is going to be
Are
down
we going to have
there.
a smite war?
That's what we're looking for is Tal. He's going to move himself back. The reset on the blue buff means that no, he's going to waste a little bit of time, especially from Score. Now Def taking about half his health buff, trading it back in kind onto Bang, as Wolf has already used his exhaust.
And Score's still here. He's much stronger than Jarvan at level 1.
Yeah, he's the referee.
He doesn't actually have kill pressure because he's going to run out of mana.
And there's a lot of wolves down here as well as Blank turns it around. Remember that first auto attack does loads of damage from the Jarvan.
The electrocute proc as well, and Score's like, well, going away with my tail between my legs. So turned around in a couple of ways there. The mana cost was also going to be a problem. No one wants to leash for their junglers anymore because it's all about getting to lane. When it's Justana versus Kalista, it was same story in game number 1. Score goes over to his red buff. The way he able to use his passive to get attack speed is going to be very low on his first clear.
Yeah, I think it was all calculated. Papa just wanted to get himself low to make sure that his clear is as fast as possible. Does make some sense. This is dangerous.
It's one of those things where I'm baited into thinking that it's Olaf level 1. He's got the axes. Jarvan's only got the flag, but the passive and electrocute ended up actually doing more damage than both Score and I expected. Turns it around, and blue buff finally taken as safely as possible. You can see that the health cost for both junglers is going to be felt more on the side of the Jarvan, and that's why Smeb's going in.
Yeah, and Smeb actually doesn't decide to use the hookshot to get over the wall where he possibly could have just grabbed himself a kill. But it does mean that the Gromp not going to be taken, and Blank this time heavily punished for his positioning in the jungle.
So let's talk a little bit more about why all this happened. If Score invades and goes for a 1v1 and doesn't die, he returns to his jungle, and if he's low health, he can still clear it because of the Olaf passive. So he's priced in to going for an extended contest. He eventually had to back away. He knew his clear would still be intact, his timing would still be intact, and the end result for Blank is pretty heavy loss of time. His level 3 is going to be very delayed.
Yeah. Well, this time around, Score actually
Blank
gets
doesn't know.
himself in here, and Bro is yelled out from Score. Loads of damage as he's one level ahead, lands the undertow after the flash, and now a couple more. He's just holding onto it, doesn't even need it. First blood goes to Score in the jungle.
And this is what Score is about. This is jungle pathing. Even though it looked comical that he was forced out after the level 1, he follows the logic. He knows that the recall is on top side. You go where your second big buff is. Predictable stuff from Blank. Read like a book by Score.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And is this a look at what KT can now do, running Rush and Score interchangeably, giving Score this level up from the jungle? Terrifying. The chickens are going to go over to him as well, and this is the kind of Olaf you get legitimately scared of.
And this is great because it's theory into practice. We always talk about, oh, in the back, they're watching the games. We're only speculating. We can't see the players. But it's what always made sense about the Blank and Peanut situation. It's nice to see that theory go into practice. Score was able to use the information. It may not decide the game, but it's a good moment for the KT coaching staff because it vindicates the big risk of Rush playing in game number 1.
Yeah. You can see Tal up here towards the top side has actually opted in for Kleptomancy. So we've been seeing a lot more of the Grasp of the Undying, but Klepto is going to be picked up, means that there is a bit more of an onus on Smeb to get more of this harassment down. He's actually ahead in farm by quite a margin, but have a look at Klepto. It gets a little bit scary when that lead isn't something like 35 creeps at 4 minutes into the game.
It's so strange because I look at that, and even in solo queue, you see almost no Klepto gangplank, unless it's someone who's just auto-filled into top lane. Basically, everyone is going Resolve because you don't have the Bandit passive, you don't have the other gold generation. I look at this and say, okay, why is he going Klepto? It's a decent matchup into the Camille. You don't die. You can Q poke and be able to do just fine when it comes to cashing up and pilfering the items. I look at it and say, maybe it's an incentive to force the enemy jungler topside and get Justana more farm in the risky 2v2 bot side. So I actually look at it as a bit of a global taunt looking in a Teemo by going for the Kleptomancy and saying, why wouldn't you gank me? I want Klepto.
Well, speaking of ganking, that's another undertow that's going to land. Score gets the smite in there as well. He's going to peel away as soon as he sees Swain moving on over, but Blank just can't enter his jungle.
Happy to go for the steal. He used his summoner, so he has to be a little bit scared if he ever sees Azir half step over, but we know the recall has come through from Blank. Heavy counter jungling here. It's pretty reminiscent of the LCK Summer Final. You remember there was a lot of counter jungling on Zax and a lot of denial in that series. Seeing here again is just trying to take advantage of the positive jungle matchup. We did not see this sort of play in game one in the exact same matchup. Even though Score is not known for the same relentless aggression that made Rush famous, he's actually making the vision plays that were the problem. From game one, to me, the big missed opportunity for KT is they had winning lanes, they had preferential lanes, but they never got down deep vision. In fact, SKT were winning the ward game. The vision score, which usually is not a very important stat to mention, showed that Rush wasn't very involved in either placing or clearing vision. That is Score's strong suit, and that's what I expect most to change in game number 2.
Well, you can see what UCal's been able to utilize as well from this added aggression. He's got a huge lead in the mid lane, 17 creeps against Faker, and Faker so defensive in the item build as Negatron Cloak comes out as item number 1 up against the Azir.
And let's be clear, in the mid lane, Swain is not an overpowering force. He has decent wave clear for mid lane, great wave clear for top, but most of the meta mid laners have fantastic wave clear. Talia, for example, game number 1, the Azir even after the nerfs in game number 2. Very much this is taking advantage of a flex pick. I can be competitive against the Azir. I won't die because if a streamer shuffle comes in, I ult and I don't die, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. But it's only about safety and defensive posturing. The all-in, it's much later for the swing.
Yep, still opportunities for UCal, and the more fed Score gets, the more terrified SKT get as well.
Isn't it amazing that one game later, just with the change being the jungler, all 3 lanes are up in CS pretty significantly. And guess what? When the enemy jungler has no presence because wherever he goes, he's dying, it's very hard for your lanes to push up and look for those extra CS. You have to be more respectful. And rolling back the draft has gotten KT a 1,400 gold lead at 8 minutes.
Yeah, the really interesting thing to me as well is that bottom side of the map. It just, normally the Tristana is picked into the Kalista as a counterpick. Well, always was, you know, as far as history was concerned. Slight nerfs now coming in onto both of these champions, and Deft is still able to play out that lane very effectively. It's still very, very close. But Marta exiting this lane at the moment, moving towards the spot.
But think back to that point. Remember that that's with equal supports. That's with both tank supports or both range supports. This is with a tank support and the Fate's call to kill the Karma. That was the last pick when they knew that bot lane was running very risky 2v2. A pushing 2v2, the Karma, to help the Tristana laning presence. Other things being equal, but you include the Fate's call in the all-in, and that's why the Kalista makes sense in the 2v2.
Well, Faker's going to find UCal, who will need to shuffle his way out. Actually gets into Blank and picks him off. So much damage as UCal's able to grab that kill for the second one for KT. Trying to get out of the way. The flash in from Faker, who does have the Demonic Ascension, gets the Demon Flare and locks it in. Faker now trying to run away and score. Not going to be able to stay in here. The flash, he tries to get it. The Ignite goes down and Marta will just fade away jump shot. Oh, the Inspire comes in and Faker isn't going to die. Hero play from Wolf.
Shield duration of all things saves in his top lane.
Snap just gonna get soloed by Tull. What the? This is a Klepto game plank. What's happening?
We're getting Pandemonium. It's not done yet. Score poking around the back of the turret. They're not gonna get it. SKT. The top lane was the surprise. But Wolf bailing out his mid laner, old friends, and Wolf and Faker keeps SKT's hopes alive.
Yep, absolute disaster on the top side for KT, and it seems to have not stopped yet. Mountain Drake not going to be considered here from KT, as now Score needs to get back around his jungle, keep clearing things out as the dust settles. 1,000 gold is the lead for KT. That is not how they wanted that to go.
Watch through what happened here. UCal was fantastic here. He read the situation perfectly. They had the control vision, but Faker's just waiting to actually get the ult. The range was his only question mark. He flashed in. It's always going to be a 1-for-1. Then bot lane rotates first. When you have the Mantra Inspire, you can get there. Let's watch topsiders. We can't see the item lead as it stands now. It seems like Smeb, on lower health, thought he could take the all-in. The replay here. Goes for the all-in, takes the damage, takes a turret shot. And the moment he took the turret shot, he realized he was burned.
Yeah, that was the most instant oranges I've ever seen as well. That hook shot looked like it missed. Didn't, just had himself a snack and killed the chameleon.
What does this mean? Because KT are all about keeping up tempo. They never established enough tempo early. Got 2 turrets, that was the uptick for KT in game number 1. But then, of course, SKT won a fight, got Baron, and the tempo didn't matter. The tempo needs to be maintained. It's going to need to keep playing as they are, aggressively, taking advantage of Score's ability to 1v1 the enemy jungler. You've given up a couple of kills. Smeb's feeling a little bit silly about himself on how he played the top side. That game plan needs to hold true because they still have the Kalista in the late game. They're going to be heavily outclassed by Tristana.
Yeah. Now KT moving themselves over to this Mountain Drake. They want to be able to take objectives. This is the perfect dragon to do so. With 4 men here, should be a steal from Blank this time. The birds turn up and they leave immediately. Faker's just going to head towards the mid lane, try and get whatever shove he can. With this Abyssal Mask build that is coming in, remember the nerfs, meaning that he has to be in Demonic Ascension right in the faces of KT to really get anything out of that one. It's once again, snack timing from Tal is fantastic.
Last half full story for SKT is, oh, we'll hold the point.
Yeah, Emperor's Divide comes in as Score turns up exactly the right time. Oh, Blank's here as well. They do manage to lock down the kill, but now will Score actually fall? Cataclysm comes in, but this is going to be a double for Yukao. That's a disaster for SKT, but at least they get one back.
Yukao getting both kills, pretty important there. He's going to keep pushing on him. Might even get the turret here. No rotation from bot side. First outer turret goes down. Credit KT, they kept up the pressure. And even in bot lane, stopping the recall timings from SKT.
Yep, well, not going to be able to do anything to Mata here as he's ahead. That is going to be that. Red buff helps burn it down, and first turret blood solo gold going to the Azir. It's frightening news. Now, can Tal use this lead to try and navigate them through this mid-game is the question.
And the fact that he was able to engineer a lead is what we need to talk about, Atlas. Remember that Tal, against Smeb, has been able to stand up and engineer leads, being able to outplay Smeb. It's one of our queries that Tal was able to overpower QV. He didn't look great in the best of 3 that KSV played. Had a tough season as QV. Tal, with strong picks, has been able consistently to perform in a best of 5 against KT Rolston. That part wasn't to be taken completely on face value, but so far he's been equal to the task, and they will need him if they can win a best of 5 to be this strong.
Yeah, just so confident in the Gangplank versus Camille matchup as well. It's very impressive play out of the top lane. 800 gold is going to be the lead for the Gangplank. Kleptomancy always surprises me, Papa.
Well, you have to mention he also got a kill into his.
That is, yeah, well, I mean, true, but wait, still a lot of gold at 13.5 minutes into the game.
Yukao also 19 CS, 3 kills, pushing up on Faker, who's now in a short lane with low AP, so it's going to actually impact his wave clear after the nerfs.
What is that damage, Yukao? Vision of Empire not going to find him. Well, it does find him, not going to do any damage.
You can mention the amount of games where Faker has been pushed into his inner turret and has no lane control in, what, the last 5 years? On kind of 2 hands, Alice. It does not happen very often. He won't often pick himself into a laning disadvantage or a wave clear disadvantage, but he has no control of the mid lane, whereas in this game, the Azir has a paddock to roam around, the ability to push in the higher damage build, and speaking of that paddock, he's going topside.
Yep, Bang Bros coming in here as Blank. Not a lot of vision around the area. Score gets into this tri-brush pretty comfortably, but Deft should be able to grab this turret. No, actually, decides a lot of respect is deserved by Tal. Moves out of the way. Will be another minion wave before that bottom lane outer turret goes down, if at all. Cute little Smite gets it away.
Huge lead. He's up 10 camps over the Jarvan. Also has more assists to his name. Or definitely has been premier jungler in the first 15 minutes, and KT have a much bigger lead than they did in the previous game. Like the rotation from SKT, who sack the 2v2 and say, we don't really want Kalista in lane that much as bot lane.
Yeah, Flash comes in, he's going to trade it, and there's the Glacial Fissure. Nowhere that Tal can go, and they're just going to smack him down. Score picks up that kill easily. Blank immediately trading, as well as Bang on the top side of the map. SKT trying to get the maximum out of this, but they know exactly what's going on. Can KT do anything about it?
Nice vision play there from KT. They knew where they were strong. They returned to a mid lane.
Okay. As the Emperor's Divide, Faker will have to walk all the way around it unless he wants to use his flash, but he doesn't. Just going to get priority in the mid lane. Wolf's going to join him there as well, and it might be that SKT can take a lot more than they necessarily should from this play, as this inner turret takes no damage on the bottom side.
Seeing an earlier recall from the Kalista, doesn't want to stay bot lane to try to pack up. Stop this mid lane turret going down, but I think they might have been out-rotated there, and the Rift Herald will certainly guarantee that. So overall, while a kill went the way of KT Rolston, they should lose a turret here, although Score still in lane, waiting to see if SKT overstays.
Yeah, well, that boop from Shelly is going to easily take down the outer turret. Not a lot that KT can do about that one. Deft's going to turn up and turn her into 25 gold, so he's going to feel okay about it. But 15 CS is now the lead for Yukal in the mid lane. Now we've got the objectives evened out almost completely. KT fans can breathe a little bit easier now. 3,000 gold is still the lead for KT, so they're not out of the woods just yet. But as this game ticks ever onwards, feels better and better. You're a fan of SKT moving to a 2-0 lead in this series.
Let's return to expectations, because you remember SKT took a better fight when KT should have been its strongest and misplayed it. Spot lane, Yukar gets a lot of free damage on Bang.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of mana, uses the last of it to rocket jump his way out.
But in this game, if there's a 22-minute fight, SKT will have less damage than was available to them in game 1. Azir was able to carry a lot of that damage output. Bang was able to get out of lane with a CS advantage. To the CS disadvantage, the Swain has gone a tanky build. One item, two item gangplank is the stuff of terrors. So KT actually have relatively a stronger skirmish and 5v5 than they did earlier. Now, they still get to the same point to SKT. In fact, they'll have more damage as the game goes on than they did in game number 1. But they were able to come online about 5 minutes earlier. And I say their builds and champions will allow them to in game number 2. So potentially that's more room for KT to choose the right fight and actually punish SKT's run.
Yeah, when it comes to choosing the right fight, I think that one is imminent as well, as Smev takes a lot of damage, clipped by the very edge.
Remember that Baron speed? It's looking 20% faster, Atlas.
Yeah, it's
unless Blank is able to steal away this mounted Drake.
Well, they're going to pull it out of the pit at least, as Martz is going to get knocked up. He might actually just be falling down here, as Fate's Call is going to bring him out. Deft saves his support. And it should be that SKT can get at least priority on this Dragon. Blade of the Ruin King used just to slow down the altered up Swain. The reset on the Dragon means that KT get position to move back in.
Now,
SKT do not want
down,
this.
remember.
Yeah.
Looking for the steal.
Yeah, Martz are actually moving up aggressively yet again. Glacial Fissure goes down. They do grab the Dragon as Blank Flag and drags his way out. SKT want nothing to do with this now as Never Move doesn't find the target.
Really tenuous stuff. SKT knew they were strong to engage after Mata was chunked out at the start. Then when Demonic Ascension timed out, they couldn't take a 4v4. That's some sort of a lead. They didn't have one. They back away. And it is double Mountain Drake and Azir Kalista securing damage. Take this Baron.
Yeah, it'll go down extraordinarily fast. Blade of the Ruin King completed. Hurricane probably very soon. But Deft here as well, who's been farming up quite excellently the first 20 minutes of this game, and now going to go home and pick that one up. Black Cleaver will be there also for score, so item timings means that KT feels great about getting a very early Baron.
KT probably feels pretty bad about score popping his ultimate and thinking the axe would interrupt the recall from Wolf. It didn't, so it was a bit of a zoning ultimate. He just went red in the face. He was embarrassed. It was a bashful ultimate.
Well, I mean, hopefully now, he's got the Black Cleaver, 20% cooldown reduction.
And he's gone for the snowball build. He has not gone for Warmogs first. He's gone for Black Cleaver to facilitate more damage from Death. I'm a fan of it because, like we said, you pick up the first Baron or you kind of pack up and say, well, maybe game 3 is our lifeline here. I like a bit more damage. I like KT doubling down around where their strength is rather than trying to paper over weaknesses.
Yeah.
I feel like in the European LCS, if there was an Olaf in this scenario, might actually see something like a Zeke's Convergence instead of the Black Cleaver, just to amp up the damage on Deft even further. We're seeing it more and more diversified. Trundle item, Skarner item, now we're seeing even Olaf pick it up situationally, because you're often ulting in range of your AD carry and thus being able to pass over the Zeke's Convergence. The Black Cleaver helps in the 1v1, and that was what Score allows himself with picking up that item.
Yeah, Hurricane not quite complete here for Deft as we have a look down the items, speaking of which. Marta has the Aegis, but otherwise not up to anything just yet. See whether he's going to be able to hit his second item timing before the Baron is attempted by KT. Speaking of which, the Purple Worm now exists in that pit. Vision available here for SKT.
And remember that if you ever get vision of the pit, which is very possible, KT have the ability to put down 3 control wards and say, hey, do you want to face check this? Remember, there's the Swain W, the Vision of Empires, to spot out a Baron start. They also have a Trinket Ward. They actually have the Gangplank Ultimate. They have many different non-committal ways to check the Baron. So a Baron sneak is impossible. A pick into Baron, that's where the possibility is there for KT.
Yeah, they really want to be able to get themselves something to grab that worm, because what their comp is going to be relying on. Smev moves himself back away from the very scary pirate on the bottom side, who's going Essence Reaver second by the looks of things. Tal, just the greediest build possible because he was handed an early game. Now the Hurricane's in. Now Morellonomicon is done. Trinity Force there finally for Smev. Things are starting to come together for KT, who will now want to try and get all of that vision control that you were talking about on this top side.
And let's be clear. KT don't actually get relatively stronger through items than they are right now. 2 items on the Kalista. It's very much still her go time. the Merlinomicon gets just the most ludicrous value against Swain Gangplank on the side of SKT. This is where they are strongest. This is where they need to claim the Baron. If they don't get it in the next 5 minutes, it's hard to see KT Rolster winning the game.
Yeah. This is before Infinity Edge timings from Bang here as well, so it's just stacking up. Everything you look at points to KT needing to find a fight right now. Mata, he knows exactly what's going on. They find Blank, they jump on top of him. This could just spell the Baron, and it's going to be flashes coming out everywhere. Mata realizing that Winter's by landing could mean another kill, but now this could be it.
And this is the time they needed the pick. They get it. They're going to try and start it here.
Never move was nice there on to score, but SKT, not a lot of options. This Baron is going to get slaughtered.
They should put out the gameplay ult first. It's actually going for the TP first.
Yep,
it's going to be
interrupted all too easily, and that's going to be the Rend locking down the Baron. Flashes from KT, they all move out, and Deft is able to grab Mata as well, who was the only one without a flash.
Big mistake from Tal. Ult first, you know they're going to go on to Baron. They just Ramboed to try to kill your jungler. Went the selfish way, got interrupted. Now Smev has a TP advantage as well. KT Rolster, just when they needed it, pick up the Baron that went the way of SKT at the same damn timestamp in game number 1.
Yeah, absolutely glorious timing from Mata to move around for the flank on the Braum as well. We all know his Braum, absolutely fantastic, but that is just a timing play that Mata knew he could manage to accomplish. Now what can KT do with this Baron for another 3 minutes?
They've got so much Atlas. Their items are at their maximum power. Suddenly, Smav is going to have a happier time in the 1v1 that was slightly going the way of Tal. Tal went for a team fight build, going for Essence Reaver, usually IE next, going for the big chain link barrel to explode people. Not as good in the 1v1 because what do people usually build against Camille? Sterix Gauge. That's far away in this particular game. So who knows, the right all-in and maybe Camille get the solo kill to really push KT over the edge.
Yeah, now Blank actually going to be spotted on this ward as well. The control ward not quite in range pick that one up, as Yukal knows that he's very, very safe. Hanging out here towards the top side, even Undertow doing some relevant damage onto Bang, who's just clearing out vision. At least going to be able to do so. We've got Raven's Death Cap possibly being looked for here by Yukal as third item, foregoing the Void Staff, which is sometimes an item number 2 for an Azir. Yukal just feels snowballed. He's going to be able to take down the last outer turret on the top side. That's going to be the first of potentially a few more here for KT if they can get their minion waves in order.
It was a straight up mistake if he didn't go for Merlinomicon this game. Is maybe they'll try and get the pick on Mata.
Yeah, does throw the ultimate back in. They get on top of Blake,
No
he's the only target. There's a Cataclysm, catches the Braum, and that's going to be that. Wolf is able to pick up that kill. Faker off to the side, not going to be able to get anything done, but it's 2 kills for SKT, and the fat flash from Faker is going to get him out.
Big mistake there from KT. The Fate's Call was on cooldown, and Deft ended up also trying to spare the blast of his support by walking up, but SKT rolled on there being no Fate's Call. They were correct. This will slow down the Baron, although slowing down Smev is going to be tricky.
Yeah, understands that if he manages to get that Q working for him, he's able to do a lot of damage onto Tal with this particular